This is the ABQ Business Podcast
with your host, Jason Rigby.
Each week we'll interview visionary business leaders to inspire the creative power and spirit
That's in every entrepreneur.
discussing strengths, weaknesses, strategies, systems,
And the problems we can all solve together.
for a new future for local small business.
Hey, this is Jason Rigby with the Albuquerque Business Podcast. I am in the 99.9 The Beat studios with Mr. Powdrell. How are you doing, sir?
I am doing great.
You know what's exciting is I see it's like 2.0 in here. What have you got going on? You've got like TVs hanging up now and new shotgun mics. What's going on?
You know,
with the Beat?
Jason, I got to tell you, since wanting to do podcasting and getting you moving on this thing, that it has energized me to do some other stuff and to continue to move forward into the future with this thing as a nonprofit. And so we've added an actual podcast system in the studio, which is separate from using the main board, that you started on. So you got a chance to actually learn radio the right way, and then you went to podcasting. So, man, you've got your certificate coming.
Oh, no, yeah. No, thank you. Will it be, can I get like, can I put a thumb with some barbecue sauce on it?
There you go. Yes, you have.
So what are you doing? So what's going on with the radio station? Because I want to update everyone. We have a lot of business people, a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of business leaders reach out to me all the time. And I want them to know more about, we're going to talk about you in a little bit, but I want to know more about the radio station and what it's doing for the community here in Albuquerque. And then we'll get into leadership and the city and everything. But what is going on with 99.9 The Beat and the local community?
All right. Well, one of the things that we're doing with the station is something that was part of our mission statement, and that was to work for the community. Unlike the days that we're sitting in right now, other radio stations and TV stations have now become what they call hyper-local.
Right.
Okay? And even nationally want to sound local as they're appealing to the locals. My question is how long is that going to last? If our economy bounces back, is everybody going to go back to normal, and all the free and the love that's being passed in the media, does it go away? Well, even if it does elsewhere, it never goes away here. Everybody that works for the station doesn't make any money, okay?
Right.
And they do it because this is what they love. And so I've given everybody a chance to come into radio and do it the way I did when I was in high school. I got on my motorcycle and I drove from El Dorado High School all the way down to TVI, which is CNM now, and I did a half-hour lunch break, and then I would leave and go back to school, go to my next class. And I did that all through my senior year. And then after I graduated, I stayed in radio and even jumped into TV. I worked at KOAT for a while and decided that radio was probably the best way to go, and stayed in radio as a volunteer all the way up to probably from 83, 84 to 97 when my daughter was born, before I went into commercial radio.
So now, what the opportunities that you have? So, question, because you came from El Dorado, you were on a motorcycle. I'm trying to picture that. Well, you got a bike now, right? You
I got one.
Harley,
I've been a biker forever.
That's right. I remember you came to the dealership once over at Quality Monster. You came to the dealership once and you had like your leather jacket on and you had a big patch on the back.
That's it. I'm a biker.
You're a biker. Yeah.
I don't hide from it. I'm a biker. It's in my blood. Some bikers are good. Some bikers
Have you
are
seen
bad.
the movie Shaft?
Oh yeah.
Are you like that?
Well, that's a long jacket. That's a longer jacket. But I act like him every once in a while. But I do that at home.
Yeah. No. Do you have a concealed weapons permit?
Yes, I do.
Oh, okay. So you can play the Shaft part.
I can play the shaft part, but I want. But here's the deal with me. I want you to see it. I want you to see everything that'll go wrong if you make a mistake.
Well, you got to think about it. You can have an open weapon as long as you show it. You're allowed to.
Well,
in
when
New Mexico.
when I ride, if I ride more than 100 miles away from the house, then I carry it.
You know, what's funny? I was looking in California, you know, because I would imagine you're pretty left. I'm pretty left. I mean, as far as that goes. But it's so funny how everybody, the super left, is now all of a sudden deciding to buy guns. And did you see today this California judge, one of the super liberal judges, was like, you could go ahead and buy ammo. They just released this whole thing where you could buy ammo now and you don't have to have an ID check.
Wow.
In California. So it's funny when shit goes down.
It's it's the climate of where we're at.
Right.
And when you have look at the breakdown that we have here in the city. We are letting people out of jail. Okay. We're not ticketing for certain things. We're not doing certain things because we cannot put people in jail because we don't want to affect other people.
Right.
I know there's ways around it, but we're in the middle of a pandemic, and there was really no time to let's figure this out, But now we know ahead of time this is what we're going to have to do, and but in the meantime, crime has jumped up, and so that's why everybody's saying, "Look, I got to take care of my house."
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. Did you see the R. Kelly joke about the jail?
No.
You ever heard this one? Because you play some R. Kelly every once in a while.
Every once in a while. We get somebody a little high.
No. They said that he's complaining in jail right now because he's worried about getting COVID-19. And somebody said on Twitter, if it was COVID-15, he wouldn't complain.
Yeah.
I thought that was a funny one.
Oh, and then they also want Bill Cosby out.
Yeah, exactly. Well, as long as they keep that one dude, the producer, Harvey.
Weinstein, yeah.
As long as they keep him in there, he's almost gone. So,
well, his dirt goes a little deeper. I keep telling people that, Bill Cosby did the same thing that Dean Martin did, and the rest of the Rat Pack. You see it in the movies. Slap him right in the ass. Pow! Come here, girl.
Yeah,
you know
exactly. Yep.
It's just Bill Cosby did it with finesse.
He offered him pudding packs.
Yeah.
Chocolate pudding.
Yeah, I'm gonna smack your ass and get you some Jello pudding.
Some Jello. That's funny. So one of the things you were talking about, we were talking about this earlier, and I want people to understand this, what a local radio station that is serving the community. And that's your motto, is to serve the community, that you're not getting in a lot of these big corporate. And I want to kind of get into that a little bit. As much as you legally can, the fight with these big radio stations and how these big conglomerates just try to attack and kill. You're a minority-owned, not-for-profit radio station, but you're threatening these big boys, and I love that. But before we get into that, this school, you have a school that's out there. We won't name it, but this is really cool. During the COVID-19 right now, You're going to do something with the radio station. Tell everyone what that is.
All right. So what we're doing is we're working on a what they call a something. I forget what it's called already. Well, anyways, we're putting together.
Well, it's like a drive-through.
We're putting together the paperwork for a charter school. Okay.
Right.
And right now I know there's going to be some difficulties with it because a lot of the money that the state has is going in a whole lot of different directions. Right. I would rather see people survive because schools aren't open.
Yeah, exactly.
And if we don't get to move forward on this year, I know that next year, 1st of January, we'll get the paperwork in, and then we'll be okay. But this school is different because it's going to teach these children the things that are happening in the future. They get to learn about broadcasting in all of its facets, which includes meteorology, it includes sports, it includes news. And so you'll be able to do that. And, of course, you'll be on air. And the HD channels that we're adding will also be incorporated in schools where the kids themselves will get people from within the school,
right.
Some of the kids, to be the general manager, to be the program directors and so on. And they'll work under the staff. And they'll be able to hire the other kids from the school.
Oh, that's awesome. So they're going to learn not only just business, they're going to learn how to run a radio station and a digital online station. They're going to use the technology that these kids are amazing. I mean, you have, what's your youngest?
That is Aviana, 3 years old.
3 years old. I guarantee you she knows how to use an iPhone.
Let me tell you, she knows, not only does she know how to use it, she knows it's the 6-digit passcode. She already knows that. She knows how to go to Apple. And
has
find
she figured
her
out
movies.
YouTube?
She's on YouTube all the time. YouTube Kids.
See, isn't that amazing? And so it's for them to be able to learn and use technology. That's what we're missing in a lot of the schools nowadays because, these kids are just sitting there at this table with this wooden desk. I mean, we're still 1800s, you know what I mean? And a lot of our learning. And that's what excited me when you started communicating this and talking about this, especially if we get into a situation where if this continues or this becomes a norm, there may be online learning and then small groups. You may have a room where there's only 5, 6, 8 kids in there. That type of situation where a charter school can adapt to that a lot smoother than maybe some rigid school that, has systems that's been in place for 100 years.
And, when you speak of that, I had to find a way for my son and daughter to be able to do their classes. And I thought, well, I got the studio.
Right.
And so I took one of the production areas, and that's where their classroom is. And so they're set up with their microphone. They put on their headphones so that nothing else in the room bothers them.
I love that.
And they're able to do their class. And so they got the webcam. It's all there. And they've learned it.
Yes.
And I didn't know how to do it. My daughter had to show me how to log on to
it. Yeah, we're going to have to I hope that we take a pause in this situation that's happening and it causes us to be a little bit smarter and rethink some of these archaic systems that are out there.
Well, and we're going to see change. Some of the change is good, but some of the change is bad because now we're seeing the world of automation. And when more things are automated, the human element comes out of it.
Right. But you purposely, and you've shared that vision with me here at 99.9 The Beat, you've always, in serving the community, want to keep that human touch.
All the human element we can keep in it is going to be here. Every time we add a segment or something, we want somebody to actually do that. We don't want a computer talking to you, telling you, this is the next song coming up, because it's amazing how far technology has gotten that when you think you're talking to somebody, you're talking to a computer.
And what's sad about it is you have volunteers, you have these people that are coming in and giving up their time to help the community. You are helping the African-American community here in Albuquerque. And then you have these large corporate conglomerates that just don't give a shit. They don't care. They don't understand. And I see these business owners and I talk to them all the time. It's like, why would you give your money to those radio stations? Why would you give your advertising dollars to something that's like that? Especially when anyone could have a conversation with you for 10 minutes and they would stop spending money with that radio station. Because if and I don't know how much you can get into this, Byron, but I want to address this if we can a little bit. But these attorneys, these corporate large attorneys out of state, they're not even New Mexicans. They're not from here. And they just want to come in and just wipe out station after station after station that's been a pillar of the community. And they just look at it as a number and just next. What are some of the things that you've seen with like personal tax? If you can get into that, we can skip and go into the next thing.
We won't say the name of the corporation, but they sure did get rid of a lot of employees.
Yeah.
that's your hint. When I first got the station and I went on the air,
there's an emoji for this radio station, right?
Yeah. Yes, there is. So what I did was I named the station The Beat. All right. So there was not a station in the market named The Beat. And then it wasn't 2 days after we went on air, I got a phone call. And then I got letters, cease and desist, stop. What you doing? The beat belongs to us.
You know what that's called? Legal harassment. That's what I call it.
Yeah. And I said,
for what reason? You're a local, just trying to serve the community.
That's right. That's all we want to do. And I kind of had an idea that I was going to have a problem with it. So I reached out to some other radio stations across the country that were using the name, and other companies didn't have it. Come to find out that a lot of them lost it.
The name.
They lost the ability to use the name. And so I had to find a way, well, if I'm going to do this thing, how am I going to keep this name?
Right.
And so there's a secret, just like my barbecue sauce. There's a secret. There's a secret to this success. And the way we did it, I was able to keep the name. Okay. And so, we can't make him lose the name, so let's find another way to beat him. We'll put another station in the market with the same name.
So this was intentional.
It was intentional. So now there's 2 stations called The Beat in Albuquerque. All right. And I'm like, oh, well, okay, that's all right. And they had a morning show that was just outstanding. It was one that I would check out.
Right.
And but we stayed with what we do. And Cheryl Underwood is a people person, and we kept our programming. We didn't change our programming like most. Every Christmas, all of a sudden you hear Christmas music, and then all of a sudden it sounds like something different. Well, we didn't do that. We kept everything the same, and eventually, a little bird told me that because of you, we had to make a change, and so that station became something else. And I said, well, if they had to make a change, it wasn't because of me, it was because of the people that listen.
Yes, exactly.
If the people wanted that station, the station would still be here.
Right.
And so here we are, going on our 6th year. And there's another story about this attorney that called me. And are we on a graphic side? All right, I'm gonna tell a story. So,
no one listens to this podcast,
right.
So you're fine. Byron.
All right, so the lady called me, right? And
Only all the business leaders in Albuquerque.
all right, well, you'll hear this story. All right, so the attorney calls me, and I was about to do a break, and I said, and I'm a guy that I guess I have terms of endearment. I speak, I call ladies, how you doing, mama?
Right. Yeah. Of course.
Baby, how you doing? And if I do it to you, don't take it in a bad way because it's just the black way.
Right.
All right. So
he calls me that too.
Yeah. Yeah. Come here, baby. Let me holler at you real quick. She called and she said, we want you to stop using the name The Beat. And I said, can I ask you a question? And she said, yes. I said, are you fine? And she said, excuse me? I said, well, let me say it again. I said, are you fine? And she said, I don't understand. Okay, so let me rephrase it for you. Are you a very good-looking woman? She said, well, yes, I am. And so I replied back to her. I said, well, unless you're going to give me some ass, quit calling me.
Oh, I love that. Was she African American?
No, she's white.
Oh, she was white. So it's just like a
corporate.
corporate.
I was kind of hoping she called me back. You know what I'm saying? But
she was like a corporate. She was just one of those corporate shill attorneys.
She was one of the every big major corporation has a law firm, legal firm that covers their branding, and that was for this one. So,
but I tell the people why they were so threatened by you. This is interesting.
Well, the threat comes in because of being local. And the threat is every day. I have people in radio always tell me, man, it is amazing how much social media, how you show up at people's businesses, how you do this, how you do that.
Exactly.
And I said, well, how come you don't do it? And they said, oh, they're not paying me to do that, so I'm not going to do it. And so they won't do it. But part of being a people station is you do those things. If you care about the people, you have to give in order to get.
Yes, exactly.
And we do a lot of giving, and that's why here we are going on 6 years. We're still here.
And I want people to, we're going to do a little commercial break, if you call it that. I mean, you're not for profit. So if you're a business owner and you have a local brick and mortar business, you need to put 99.9 The Beat on your radio. You're clean. There's nothing crazy on there. So it's old school. It's R&B. You throw in a couple. I've bitched at you a couple times. You throw in a couple. You were going white there for a little bit. Even me, I was like, really? Is this Journey for the third time this hour?
Man, we got well,
can't stop that feeling. So I was like, but you have I mean, of course, because of the FCC, you have to stay clean. So you're not going to offend any of your customer or anything, but everybody loves old school R&B. Everybody loves old school hip hop. It's going to put people in a good mood.
That's right. And so the music is just, a lot of music that you have today came from the cotton fields.
Right.
Your blues.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I was on the other side.
So I'm going to tell you a story. That's what I tell my kids before I whip they behind. See, black people still whip their kids. And I said, you don't have to get spanked. If you'll listen to me and don't do what I do,
right,
and get in trouble, the same thing my dad did and got in trouble. The same thing his father did and got in trouble. The same thing his father did, but he got beat by a slave owner.
Yeah, exactly.
So at some point you have to learn, if I don't do this, I'm going to have problems.
Right.
And so you'll limit the amount of what we call ass whippings that you're going to get by listening. But
to me, it's like these big corporate conglomerates, these big, huge radio stations, they're just coming in and wiping. You would think they would think of you as like nothing. You know what I mean? It's like, why even mess with you?
I wish they would.
It's like, why even mess with you? But what I want people to understand is you created something that created enough a threat to them that they felt like they needed to spend tens of thousands of dollars to try to put you out.
Right. And just like I said on the news, it was KOB TV, and they interviewed me, and the I can't remember who it was. She's no longer with them, but she asked me a question, and I said, "Look here, here's the deal. We ain't going anywhere. But if you want to come by and see the studio, I'll be glad to sit down and give you some milk and cookies. We'll talk about it. And I still got plenty of leche. So you want, so you want to come down. If you don't like it, you come down. Let's talk about it." But people have learned to actually appreciate the things that we do, and even during this COVID crisis, people reach out to us on Instagram. Can you come by my business? Can you do a Instagram? Can you do a Facebook for my business? And I said, you give me the address and I'm coming down.
Well, even what you did with giving free underwriting to restaurants and business owners like last month or the month before, when this first hit, the first thing out of your mouth was, how can I help local businesses? How can I get it out there? How can we? And I'm telling people right now, you need to, now more than any, you need to buy local. Everybody's running to Chili's and running to Applebee's and run to all these places. These restaurants are barely hanging on by a string, if at all. And so whenever you order that food, whenever you're taking away from one and giving to something that's big. And the only way that we're going to survive this is to help these local businesses that are here. And most of the restaurants are still open, but you came in and said, here's what we're going to do. We are going to support, we're going to help these local restaurants, and I'm going to volunteer airtime for free to help these restaurants, and we're going to put it out there. So these companies that would normally have to pay thousands of dollars a month for airtime, you were willfully giving it for free. And I guarantee you that these corporate people were not thinking about that. The only thing they were thinking is, how can we squeeze more ad dollars out? How can we create a positive on our bottom line? You, as being a local company, the first thing out of your mouth wasn't, how can I protect my bottom line? The first thing out of your mouth was, how can we serve the community?
That's right. And you look at what you'll spend. The average company, if you're trying to do something and make it work, you're going to spend about $2,500 a month. And that's kind of the lowest dollar that
to
you'll
be
spend.
effective. The
Yes.
lowest amount to be effective is $2,500.
Because to buy, I want to get a spot to run Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and I want them to run as early as possible. Well, here's the deal. This is how radio works. Now, this is where I'm going to piss somebody off. Somebody else can come in, and they're going to spend a little bit more. That means you're going to get bumped. All right, you can get bumped straight into overnights. You know, they have to do makeups. They'll do make goods, but the more money that's coming in the front door and the less that you're spending, the farther back you get. It depends, and it'll get you placement on your stop sets. And so what we do here is, all right, so we're not going to, if I was commercial, we wouldn't be running 2 casino spots in the same stop set because it's confusing. I wouldn't run 2 car dealerships in the same spot because it's confusing. And then at the end of that, then you don't know, who's got the zero down, who's got the this, that, and the other, because now I believe the listener's confused. Now the other thing is so many stop sets hit the radio that what you do is you go click. One of the things that I said when I started this station, I want to find all the ways that people go click so that they won't do it with this station. If you click us off, it's because you're like, I can't handle it, man. They're playing way too much music for me. I just want to hear somebody talk. I've gotten on the interstate, and this is no lie, and folks out there, when you listen to this, you find out for yourself. I've gotten on the interstate at Tramway. I've gotten off the interstate at 98th Street, and that entire time was nothing but commercials.
Yeah, that's what you hear over and over and over again.
If your commute going all the way across the city is commercials, what are you going to do to that station?
Yeah, eventually you're going to just tune it out.
You're going to click. So what a lot of people do, and you know how you do it? with your Direct TV, you do it with your Dish Network. They put a skip button. Bam, let you blow right past the spots.
Right.
Get right back to your show. And so people are now doing that with radio. I want to hear it, so I got my other station. I'll go there. Well, we have, I've been able to kind of look at what our numbers are. I can never say what our numbers are because we're not paying for it.
Right.
But they have what they call a TSL, which is time spent listening. And another company reached out to us, a company called Compass Media. And they said, we want you to take this show. Can you play our spots? Ultimately, after going back and forth for about a month, it wasn't going to work. I cannot play. Some of the spots I felt were marginal enough for us to be able to do because they didn't have the calls to actions. They didn't have the inducements to buy and sell, things like that. And so we could almost do a little over a third of their spots, but they needed more than just a little bit over half.
Right.
But I would have had a killer show, a show that's in 40 markets, which they would have custom tailored for us. Would have been awesome. But we couldn't do it because of that reason right there with those spots. And so, we're not going to die, but we're going to keep moving.
Right, exactly. But you've purposely made that decision to say, I'm going to keep, like you do with the community, you also did that with your listeners and say, yeah, there's potential to make a lot of money here, but I'm not about that. I want the listeners to be able to hear what they want to hear, and that's good music.
That's it.
And so you made that decision even in that. And that's what's so admirable about the station. That's why business leaders and business owners need to get behind this station, because at the end of the day, it is a direct relation to what this community is about.
And people will see, they know you by the things that you do.
Yes.
Here's an example. Sandia Resort and Casino. In 2006, myself and Bobby Jones started playing music there. Right after they built the place, it was Stuart Paisano was the president or the governor at the time, and we came in, they brought us in, and they gave all the tribal members computers. It was the first event they had at the new casino, at the casino now. And then we were out for a little while, and then we came back, and we've been there pretty much ever since.
Right.
All right. So one of the things that big corporate giants want in radio is to be able to step out on that stage in front of 4,000 people and say, hey, this is Giant 103.7, and we're the best, and da-da-da. And we'll see, they recognize, in marketing, they recognize that when people step out on stage, that is not for those people. It is for themselves.
Right.
When I go out on stage, it's not for me. I don't even say the name of the station because the logo on my shirt's big enough. They can read it from out there.
Right, exactly.
But I make it about the people. And how many people can and they allow me to turn around and do a selfie in front of 4,000 people. And not only that, people get into it. My job is to make those people feel good when they come out there.
Right.
And if they like what I do, then they say, hey, maybe we'll tune them in and check it out. And a lot of people do. And so when I came, where I'm at is kind of going to migrate a little bit into politics. Why in the beginning, when I came to you guys, you couldn't do anything with us. It's because of the drama that I had in politics. But when you get to that point, then we'll get to that point. But you've found since then that what we've done at the station actually works for you.
Right. Yeah, 100%. I mean, we've been breaking records at our businesses, people coming in constantly saying 99.9 the beat, I heard it here, I heard it there, because you have loyal listeners. And you're intentional on what company you put on there. You want to make sure you're hands-on. You want to make sure that listener is going to go into that business and have the experience that they need to have, that's transparent, that's honest, and it transfers all the way over. So you've told people no. I've known you. Yeah, you've told people no just because of the way they treat their customers. So I know how you are, and it's a not-for-profit. And the beautiful part about it is, and I want everyone to understand this, the beautiful part about it is those ad dollars that you're sending to these large corporations, it's not getting you what you think it's getting you. And then you just shared that earlier. I encourage people to listen to that again. But second of all, you're not helping the community out. You're not helping the community out. If they underwrite with you, you're not for profit. Not only can you write it off and all that stuff, which that's a secondary thing. But the most important thing, Byron, that's what I want you to speak about, is it frees you up to be able to do more in the community, like using the radio station for a school that's having a graduation. Share that.
So there's a school. I got a call. They reached out to some other stations. They told them no. We can't do it. It was, she said to me, the young lady, I always call them young lady, don't matter. She goes, how much would it cost us? So-and-so said it would be $2,000 or whatever. And I said, all right, so let me tell you my fee. I said, I want you to hang on to your chair. You got your chair? She said, oh, is it that bad? And I said, hang on to your chair, baby. That's my term in there.
Right.
I said, it's zero. It costs you nothing. And I want you to know why it costs you nothing. It costs you nothing because we have sponsors like San Diego Resort and Casino. We have great sponsors and super sponsors and prime sponsors like the De Lorenzo's and the Mazda dealership that have made so much happen for this station. When they make it happen for us,
then you make it happen from the community.
We make it happen for you.
So people are going to be able to go to this school, to a graduation, put it on 99.9 The Beat, and everybody can safely sit in their cars and hear the graduation.
They sure can.
See, that's what I'm talking about. Everyone needs to understand. And literally, we could tell story after story, you putting cameras in, even out of your own pocket. I know you probably don't want me to share this, but you went to a place and put, it was in the newspaper or something, I think they showed it, but you put cameras so that they could be safe. Didn't they get broken into or something?
I'll tell you a quick story. I was working on my second heart attack. Not that I did it on purpose, but I was.
And we're on them to eat clean, guys.
Yeah, it was, man. Look here, man. I got my pills in my pocket.
Banana pudding,
man. I got look.
You got to give that up.
Look at that. See these right here. I take these pills.
You can have collard greens. You just can't have banana pudding.
Yeah, man. As much as I love the pudding. So I'm laying in a hospital, and it was funny because the doctor said I set the all-time record for hiccups in this city. I had a heart attack and hiccups at the same time. 22 days running on the hiccups. It was terrible. So the doctor said, we're going to put you on what they call a Thorazine drip.
Right.
And I said, anything so that I can be normal.
Right.
I didn't realize what Thorazine did to you. I was high. You know what I'm saying? I was high.
That was
as
some
hell,
of your best
man.
radio work, by the way.
And they said, all right, we're going to take you to another, because I stayed in the ER for like 2 days because they thought it would just, they could make it go away.
Right.
They had to move me to a room. I was in there a week. And so my trip from the ER to that other room, it felt like it took 2 days to get there. And I had a nurse. I don't remember her name. She didn't do anything to me, but anyway, but she was real nice to me. And she would come in the room and talk to me because literally for most of that week, I never opened my eyes, never. And so I would just listen to the TV.
Right.
And I heard a news story, and I don't know if it was, I think it was on KOB TV or it might have been KRQE, one of the two, and I'll say their names because I can say those other media names. And it was a community center that had gotten vandalized several times. Mm. And so I told my nurse, and I reached out, and I said, give me your hand. And she said, yes. I said, I'm not asking you to marry me. I just want to hold your hand for a second. I said, can you grab a pen and a piece of paper and write down the phone number that they have on the news so that I can reach out to these people and tell them that I'm going to, I want to bring them some cameras.
Right, right.
And so she did that. And I really got to know this nurse. She told me, we shared our lives. She knows a lot about me, but when you're on Thorazine, you might tell the truth. And so.
And she didn't judge you.
No, not at all. Not at all. She said, I have tattoos all over. I got one right here. Well, I couldn't see it. My eyes were closed. And
That's sad.
And so I know I wish I could have seen it. You know, I'm still a man. You know what I'm saying? You know, nothing wrong with
Even
it.
on death's doorstep.
Yeah, you know, you know what R. Kelly said? He said, "Ain't nothing wrong with a little bump and grind." But I just wanted to look at the tattoo. But anyways, nevertheless, you know, I'm not glorifying R. Kelly. You know, the dude's a dog.
Oh yeah.
But she wrote it down, and so that next day I was able, you know, I opened my eyes up,
Right.
and I grabbed my phone and I called them and I talked to the lady. I said, "I'm bringing you some cameras." Now I thought they were in Albuquerque,
Right.
because you know you do a news story about vandalism,
Right. You were
da-da-da.
high. Yeah.
And I was on Thorazine. I was on a like a 12-hour drip. Well, I was
Right.
high.
Right. Yeah.
I can't even tell you. I was high as hell, man. But you know what? The best kind of high is the one the hospital gives you, because
Oh,
it's a
yeah.
controlled high.
Oh yeah. Yeah. They're gonna. Yeah.
Because there's no way I could have did that at home. There's no way. I'd have been missing for like 4 days. They'd have
Paranoid
found me
high.
on the phone, on the floor with foam coming out of my mouth. And so I called her, and then she said to me on the phone, "Did you know that we are in Grants?" All right. So I had another heart attack. I said, "Oh, damn. I got to drive to Grants." And so that's when I called you up. I said, "Jason, listen, I need you to help me out with a project." I said, "I buy a camera, you buy a camera. I'm going to take them out there." And so I got them 2 Ring cameras.
Right.
And I got my youngest daughter. The kids were in school. I told Mom, "You go pick them up. I'm going to Grants." So I took my baby girl and we jumped in the car. Not any car, but a Mazda CX-9 with a Beat logo on the side of it. Drove all the way out to Grants, and we presented them with the cameras. These people lost their minds because they didn't think that I was really going to do it.
Right. Right. Right.
And so I walked the grounds with them, and I showed them, you know what? Even though I run this radio station, I still have a day job because the light bill's high. I pay the light bill, things like that. The music.
Your
licensing.
streaming alone, because the amount of streams you get is incredible. Your streaming bill alone is how much?
It's in the thousands, only because we're streaming 2 different places, and both streams are unlimited, and we're streaming at a higher
Bit rate. Yeah.
bit rate, so we don't sound like we're coming out of a tin cup.
Right.
And then of course the hardware that we use to stream. So we use hardware/software to do our streaming. But these people out in Grants, I told them, I said, "If you put a camera here and here, I'll work with your electrician. I can't do your power, but I'll work with your electrician to get this up." And I said, "And when you get them up, I want you to call me." And so because they're part of the Grants government, they got to go through certain channels in order to get the cameras up.
Right.
And so they were able to get the cameras up, and they haven't had a problem since. I said, "These cameras will let you see it coming."
Right. Exactly.
And I believe wholeheartedly in those cameras, because my day job is at Paradise Village Electronics. I've been there almost 20 years, and I've been doing video security for a very long time. We've done the Four Hills Country Club, and we've done some other big places. Some we can say, some we can't say. But Ring cameras are a great supplement for a regular system.
Right.
Even though at one point in time, the deputy chief of Albuquerque Police Department got on TV and said, "There is no proof that Ring cameras deter crime." All right. And he said that. And I was hot. And I need to holler at this player real quick, because that's not true. Right. Guess what happened a week later?
He got busted into?
No, not him. But what happened was, a week later, one of the police officers, a veteran of APD,
right,
beat the fire out of it was his girlfriend, his wife, and guess what? It was caught on Ring camera. He was the one that came and they cut his patches off of him, cut his whole uniform off of him. Now that is just a terrible way. That's disgrace. That is a fall from grace.
Yes, exactly. Yep.
So don't tell me that Ring cameras don't work. That's my day job. So we get back to radio, but it all comes together. We do it. It all, everything we do works together.
But those are. I mean, and we could sit here for hours, and you could share story after story after story of how you've helped the community, how you're helping local artists, how you're out there. I mean, you're constantly every day, 7 days a week, out in the community.
Every day.
I mean, you can go on your Facebook and watch. You're live all the time on Facebook. You're in business after business after business, business leader in the community. I mean, the other day you were telling me you were trying to get a recording and mics together for the city council or something.
No, for I joined this thing called the Community Policing Council, and so right now we're not doing anything.
Right, of
but
course.
what I wanted to do is I want to record the meetings, all right, and make it available to people in Albuquerque who could not go to those meetings.
Where they could listen to it online or something.
So they could listen to it. They could
Right.
download and listen to the meetings. And if they had questions, now they'll be able to reach out to the board members and pose questions to them and get their answers.
Right.
Because not everybody can go to these things.
Right.
So that was reasoning for that.
Yeah, no, I love that. So one of the things that was a concern in the beginning when we first started talking about 99.9 The Beat and, some of the clients that I have on the digital marketing side, wanted to step up and come in and help out the radio station and get some advertising and I want to kind of, if you don't mind going to this a little bit, there was a political issue that happened when you ran for office here.
Okay, so that was the 16, 17, it was during the last general where I ran for city council in District 9. I ran because the leadership in this district was failing. And I grew up, come from the sticks. People who know Albuquerque know where the sticks are. So our family moved up over the years. But the majority of my adult life...
For those that don't know, your family started from nothing. Your dad came in with the vision to create a barbecue restaurant, Powdrell's Barbecue. It's in existence today. And literally made it
straight out of cotton fields.
Hard work.
Straight out of the cotton fields in the 50s when they moved here. And people don't know this. They lived in a boxcar. 13 of them in a boxcar.
Oh, wow. A
boxcar. A boxcar. And he took a bath in the middle of the room.
That's crazy.
And
then they went from there, and then you guys had a home in Tanawan, which is a nice area and all that.
And so we moved up. God bless the family.
Right.
But how they say in the Bible, God giveth and God taketh away.
Right, exactly.
And so at one point we lost. And so that's where your family's got to get real tight. Mm-hmm. Never let money divide a family in any way.
Right.
And who wants to be the king of the hill? Those are the things that are destructive to any family. The main thing is like here now with my brothers and sisters, we work together. Now, are we going to argue? Yes.
Right.
Are we going to argue hard? But we take care of things. But back to the city council, I wanted to run and I wanted to make a difference. I wanted to be the guy that says, all right, when you speak, I listen. I said to the constituents when I would go out that I will have meetings throughout the district all year long so that you knew what was happening.
Right.
So that when you came down, say for instance, I would feel comfortable sitting back there as a counselor, knowing that when people come down there pissed off, they ain't mad at me.
Right.
It's not me they're mad at. Why? Because the reason people come down is because they want you to hear what they have to say. Regardless, there's a guy that comes in half naked. There's a guy that wants to hang the flag upside down. They want to do certain things. You know what? That's their way of getting your attention. But if you don't listen, those things will never stop. So I said, all right, so you ever play whack-a-mole?
Yeah.
Okay. So
the old school Chuck E. Cheese game.
Yeah. So in some parts of the hood, they play whack-a-hole. I'm joking. It's explicit. We'll take that part. But
no, it's a podcast, brother.
Okay, we don't whack a hole though. Okay, that's where my troubles came in because they said, well, Byron's doing that. But in every district in the city of Albuquerque, if all of a sudden all the city councilors rallied to work, we need to take care of the Nob Hill area, right? And so you take all that crime in Nob Hill because you focus all the police into that area, and now you've moved them to another part of town. Now you got to go to that side. Then you got to go to the international district and try to move them out of there, and then they move up into the Heights. And then you got to move something. So then you got to get the guy in the Heights. Well, we got to get him out of here. Dude, don't listen. And District 9 was in really bad shape. And it's not in the greatest shape now because the people haven't been heard. And that's why I ran. So when I ran, I had two opponents. One was libertarian. I love that guy to death, man, because we had awesome arguments.
Right.
He liked smaller government. Now, there's nothing wrong with smaller government. I would shrink it up too.
Right.
But the thing is we, you know, when people want to open a business, help them get the business open.
Yeah.
Cut the red tape.
Right.
You know, don't make it so hard for somebody to open a business.
But you have that mentality here in New Mexico where you have a certain elite group of people that are running everything, and they don't want anything new opened. I mean, they can be left or right. They just don't care.
But the backbone of this whole city is these small businesses. They
Right.
just found that out.
Yeah, exactly.
We didn't know that if we lost all these restaurants, in hospitality, we lost our tax base. Let me tell you what you lose when you lose restaurants. You lose tax base. Let me tell you what you lose when you lose hospitality. You lose your lodger's tax. What do you use your lodger's tax for? All right. So Summerfest ain't getting paid for. So all these things are getting canceled. Why? Because we don't have the money.
Right.
Let's fast forward till today. COVID-19 came in. We wasn't ready for that. Was never ready for that. Although there's people who knew that this thing was out there.
Right.
And said, get ready. Now, this thing goes all the way to Washington. We won't go there because that's a whole nother, you know, we have to bring in somebody from Fox so we can talk about it. And so now we're in a deficit.
Right.
Okay. But in my district here, our city councilor is still avid about building a $5.5 million community center when there's one 900 feet away from it. People voted on a GO bond for that community center to be rehabbed, to be fixed. That money miraculously went through the washing machine, a couple around the corner, down a half mile from here, and came back and turned into a new community center. I know what happened in that community center because my kids went there. They went there for the Head Start program and for everything else. There was hardly any kids there. Why would you build a new one? Now, I think the mayor...
Sounds fishy to me.
The mayor got on TV and said, we're going to move forward on all these projects. You got a $21 million or whatever it is now deficit. You can't go to a community center right now. And even if this thing clears up, are you going to be able to do the same thing
Right.
at a community center?
Right.
So why $5.5 million right now? I would take that money. If I was the mayor, I would say we're going to stop this project. It hasn't even been built yet. The money we got into it, let's put a pause in this thing, take the $5.5 million instead of laying off city workers
Right.
and furloughing city workers and messing up our services that we so much like, having our trash taken out. You could say, well, it's not going to affect that. Trust me, at the end of the day, it's going to affect all of that.
Right.
Take that money, feed your people.
Right.
Because if we are lack in our community services, then we're not taking care of the people. Take that money, take all these little pet projects,
Right.
put them on the back burner.
Well,
then,
you know what got me with the whole thing because I kind of studied it out, because we were questioning whether we should, do underwriting with you or not. And really what got me with it all is the craziness of using the smear campaign against you and then putting racism in there. Because it was extremely, from an outsider looking in, extremely racist. You can tell this person is racist and was using you, making pictures of you look more black than what you are, trying to do scare tactics. I mean, the list goes on and on as far as what, if you really look at what, to me, that's what I see it as. It's like they used your race and then made up this huge smear campaign against you, even making websites and all kinds of stupid shit to turn around. And why would you want a service leader that is a racist, especially here in New Mexico?
You know what he did? It was amazing that if I want to use your name and create a website about you, in order to do that and use your likeness, I got to ask your permission.
Right.
Just because it's politics, I still got to ask your permission. You'll never see in this city that somebody would create a website, Tim Keller's a wife beater.com. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
And so I was faced with some things that I've never run for. I had some problems back in the early 80s. So we're going back almost 30 years. Did I go to jail? I sure did. Did I want to go back to jail? No, I don't. Have I learned from what happened back then? Yes, I did.
But it was not to the degree of what they were proposing.
No. To see a flyer, when my neighbor brings over a flyer that shows a man standing over a woman about to punch her, and the caption is, "Would you vote for this man, Byron Powdrell?" That's just incredible. What it did is it activated a type of person in Albuquerque that says, "Oh, so this is the kind of guy he is.
Right.
Well, I'm going to go kick his ass."
Right.
All right. So we had,
but it's so silly because back in the old days, you were into music really heavy, which you are now,
Mm-hmm.
and you were bouncers at clubs. So of course there's like fighting and stuff like that, but it has nothing to do with. It had nothing, and this is being young. I mean, we all have it, but it had nothing to do with this whole idea of you just walking around town beating women up.
Right. And I went to court. I went to court on everything. If I was wrong and wanted to skirt it, could I have done it? Not back then.
Right.
I mean, the world was different. Look, police would come looking for your ass when they got off work. Oh no!
30 years ago.
It was a crusade. Oh no! I'm gonna get this. I'm gonna get this motherfucker right here. And so I went to jail, and I got out. And people say, "Why did you stay in that relationship?" Now, ladies, listen to this, because men do it too. Why did you stay in that relationship? Let me tell you why. It was those kids.
Mm-hmm.
Those kids that had a father that was missing. They needed somebody to bring them up right, to make sure that they went to school, to make sure that they ate and was clothed. That was what I did. They weren't my kids.
Right.
But today, those same kids that Don Harris, I'm throw his name out there, used to say that Byron Powdrell choked a boy till he passed out, which never happened. That never happened. And as an attorney, he should have known that. But it never happened. Those kids look at me still as a father figure, even their cousins. I helped raise a lot of those kids over the years, and they look at me today and they're doing good things. One of them runs the West. He's got a big role in the West Side homeless shelter because he knew what it was like to be on that side of the coin.
Right.
And being homeless doesn't mean that you're totally homeless. It means that you're not at home. If you're at my house and you're not at home, and I took care of those kids.
But why do you think there's such an issue with having diversity in local politics?
Well, some of the old heads want to stay in there. All right, COVID is as bad as it sounds. Is getting rid of some of the old heads, unfortunately, but it's getting rid of the wrong ones. It's getting rid of history. It's getting rid of culture. It's like when my dad passed, I said, I forget who sang it. I think it was, he said, "Only the good die young."
Right.
My dad was 62 years when he passed. I said, there's guys sitting in prison like Charles Manson. Guy killed all kinds of people, did everything, and this dude is still alive.
Mm-hmm.
My dad, Sunday school, he was a Sunday school teacher and a bus captain at his church for over 30 years. Some of the kids that rode his bus, the only meal they got during the day was those donuts we would pick up from Johnson Donuts. He'd get 30 dozen donuts. Every kid that jumped on that bus got donuts that morning. More than one. They ate until they weren't hungry anymore.
And they were shown that they were cared for. They went to church, was able to hear a positive message.
Yes.
And your dad just gave to the community that way, even though he was an entrepreneur and did well in the community, he still took the time to care and to give to the community. And
that's where I learned it from. And so people ask me, "Are you going to run again?" And if you do, boy, you're crazy. He said, "What?" The people tell me, "Wasn't that ass whipping good enough to not make you run?" I said, "I'm going to tell you, it made me stronger."
Mm-hmm.
It actually made me stronger because the only thing that anybody can do to me at this point is assassinate me. I'm not saying go out and try to shoot me or anything like that. But you can't hurt me anymore. There's nothing that any of these guys could ever use against me again because I've never run from it. They said that you could get that expunged. I said, well, I get it expunged, even though I've been acquitted and cleared and what have you, but I'm not going to.
Right.
It's my history.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard to say, well, this is where I came from if it's gone.
Right, exactly.
Don't erase history. If you can get past it and show that, I've risen above all this darkness that happened in my life, and this is what I'm doing today. And, and my kids, I teach them the same thing. You be good. And when I drop my kids off at school every single morning, all three of my children that are in the house, because of what happened during that last election season, I will not let my kids go until they touch the teacher. But when they get out of the car, we learn one thing. I say, "Who am I?" And they both say, "I'm my brother's keeper." Mm-hmm. And then I say to them, "What kind of day are we going to have?" They said, "A great day." And I said, "All right, get going."
Right.
And then they jump out and go. And as soon as that teacher gets them and hugs them both, I know that they're safe. And then I'm free to go. I will sit there and wait. But other than that, I know that they're free to go. And so the way I treat my family is the way I would treat my district. I treat them like family. I'd be that guy. I am that guy right now, let me tell you. I've gotten a lot of calls. I just need somebody to talk to. And as much as we're like, well, my clock is out, you know what? Right. I will take the time and listen, because if you want to be a leader has to listen.
Yes, 100%.
And that's what I do. And so my experience is life experience and his experience with this station, because my constituents on radio are everywhere. And so I get calls from everywhere, and I got to take those calls. I got to take those emails. I have to answer everybody back, and I do it. Sometimes I'm up to 3 a.m, and I know that you're up too, Jason, because I see you posting. I say, man, this motherfucker is posting at 4 o'clock in the morning. He should be asleep.
Yeah, I probably took a nap and couldn't go to sleep.
And then at 9 o'clock, man, he just put up another one. This dude's got, man,
so, a question. You've served the community here at the radio station. You've lived a life of serving the community. You're in that position politically. It would just be, you've already done that for years and years and years. You're not looking at this as like some political advantage, or looking at this as how I can get my name out there, or some ego thing. You know what I mean? That a lot of these people that are out there, that's why I hate politicians so much. I just despise both sides. I said I was kind of left earlier, but then I'm kind of right in some other, kind of libertarian, like you were. I was agreeing.
Right.
But I hate that. It's like now, look at the two choices we have for presidency. What is that? Really?
It was a lot of fighting to narrow it down to that. And so,
but I mean, you got a crazy dude that is egotistical through the roof. And then you got some other dude that is brain. I hate to be mean this way, but if my brain was halfway working, I would want somebody to tell me, you know what I mean? So the two choices are just, in my opinion, and this is just my humble opinion, it's horrific. But that's where we're at. And it's just a display of, it's like, okay, boomers, it's time to give it up. Let that next generation, your age and my age, let that next generation take over.
But you know why we're where we're at today? Because nobody listened.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody listened to what these people are saying. Look, America was built on immigrants.
Yes.
But we don't want to listen to immigrants.
No, we want to shut them up and keep them, whatever side you're on. We want to put them in housing and give them bad food and keep them in prison, basically. Keep them in these. We don't want to offer them a good school. We don't want to offer them college education. We're afraid. It's fear. It's fear of diversity. And that's what I see, because when you look at Albuquerque and you look at how small this town really is, and then you start getting at how small that is, the haves and the have-nots in Albuquerque, those haves, then you start looking at the haves. The ones, you were involved in that when you guys lived in Tanawan and all that. You saw the haves there. That was the elite place to live. And then you start narrowing it down and you look, there's not very many people that are in charge of everything here.
Oh, there's just a handful of people that run this whole place.
And that privilege that they have, that they're so afraid to have diversity. They're so afraid to, all they want to do is eat vanilla pudding all day long.
Two things people have to do today. Number one, don't be afraid. Number two, someone say 3, the census is coming up. You got to get involved. You know what? It doesn't matter what the president says. God bless him. Doesn't matter what he says. The census is not used to take you and send you back to another country. if we don't count the people that live in New Mexico or live in Albuquerque, we're not going to get the federal dollars that it takes to give you the services that sometimes you'll need to get over the top. And I got to tell you, the playing field, Jason, has leveled because there's the people who were the haves, all right? They're getting food stamps. All right? There's people who are the haves. They're asking for loans.
Right.
There are the people who are the haves who are saying, I need unemployment because I'm a business owner and I'm losing my ass. And so we've learned one thing, that how bad we can get in a month's time.
Yes.
Oh,
how
Lord.
fragile it is. Yeah.
And guess who's doing better right now in this point in time?
Costco.
I tell you what. Costco
Every time
and
I go
Sam's-
there, it's Costco, Lowe's, Home Depot, packed.
Oh yeah, look, we don't care if you're 3 feet apart. We want your money. But the people who were those people that were using the services, and they're the ones that are cleaning your house,
Right.
doing your yard work, still out there working.
Yes.
They weather the storm better than anybody else, and the rest of us could learn from that. And learn from that. So now that the playing field is level, right now it is level. Because I know people with money that are saying, I got a $700,000 house. I don't know where my next payment's coming from.
Right.
And then you got the guy, I'm going to say Pedro because everybody knows my name Pedro, right? Not to be anyways. But his house is paid for down there in the South Valley. His cars are paid for.
Right.
He goes out in the yard. He's got some land, and he is in the family. They're back there. They're working. They're growing hay. They're growing or whatever it is, and vegetables and stuff. And they're taking them to the flea market, and they're selling you the vegetables that you like the most. Why? Because it was grown here. They're weathering the storm better. Because if you look at the stats, who are the people that are out of work right now? It's not them. Because your house is dirty, and we got to clean it. Your yard is dirty, we got to clean it. Your car is broke, we got to fix it.
But why is this mentality of like I'm better than you, or you're better than me, or you're like, obviously I'm white, you're black, we can clearly see that. What, just because I'm white, I'm better. And then you look at New Mexico, and there's just such this divide of the haves and have-nots, and you have these country clubs and all this stuff, and these people are sitting there, and they want to judge, and it's almost like a welcome to have a level playing field. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, I totally feel great about it. And I don't wish bad upon anybody, but look at where we're at. People, I'm looking at other radio groups and radio stations. We got to lay off workers. We got to do this. We're suffering. We can't pay our bills. Look, I work 2 jobs. Now, both of those jobs outside of this radio station are gone. But, God is blessed because this thing is attached to the house. Regardless of this thing not pulling anything in, it can still do its deal as long as we can pay the light bill. And so I always think, I give her a hug all the time, and I thank her for, number one, her services. She works at a hospital, local hospital, in a heart center. And she has to deal with people that come in that could possibly have COVID. But she goes to work every day to help serve people, to help people. And they pay her well. And, man, she has taken the load off my back so that this thing, regardless of it making no money to sustain itself otherwise, as long as we can pay those things, this thing stays on the air. God's blessed because I was able to pay all the music licensing and streaming fees up front this year. And next time I see Annette, I'm going to give her a big hug. I'm going to squeeze her until her head pops.
You know what? Just real quick, I want to let you know, because we're talking about that, and we need to announce this we should announce it on the air. Mazda stepped up and said, we want to give free service to everyone that has a Mazda that's a health worker.
Awesome.
So, you can come and get free oil change at the dealership, or the dealership will come pick it up or whatever. And if you're a health worker and you're out there, then they want to support that. So I think that's awesome. But I want to, because we're going over an hour here, Byron. But I want business owners, leaders that are out there that are listening to this. I feel like they've seen your heart. They know what this radio station's about. They know that it's a pillar of the community here. How can they get involved? What is underwriting?
Underwriting is not to be confused with commercial, because we have no calls to action. We have no inducements to buy and sell. We have no comparatives. And there's a couple other things. But
So you're not going to have let's say somebody that owns a hot tub place or whatever. They're not going to sit there. They can't sit there and say, you can get a hot tub for $2,995. You can't. Those type of commercials are not welcome. But if you're a hot tub owner and you say, we treat our customers with excellence, we want to make sure we're transparent, and here's where we're at, and this is how we do it. That's the type of, if you want to say commercials or not, but that's the type of underwriting you're talking about.
Do you remember if you were staying up late at night and the guy got on TV with these little rags called the ShamWow? Remember that?
Yeah.
And he said,
didn't he die of coke overdose?
Man, a lot of those, I tell you what, because he was trying to stay up all night and be on TV. But they said, if you act right now, we're not going to give you one towel, but 2 towels for $19.95, and then we're going to throw in a back scratcher, right? And you're sitting there all stupid at home, like, you're already stupid for being up 3 o'clock in the morning, sitting there watching TV anyway, watching that.
Right.
They do this because America is way of thinking is not their own. If you think right, well, if I want ShamWow, I'll go get it.
Yeah, exactly.
I get it when I want to, not because somebody says if you don't buy this in the next hour, the price is going to jump up. Well, then the price is going to jump up, and the next time you have another one and I'm ready to buy, I'll get it. And so that's where underwriting comes in, because underwriting does this for your business. It says this is George's Chop Shop, and we don't just steal your cars; we steal it with passion. All right. But we're going to take care of your car until the police come get it. No, so let me take that back. So let me use another example. So this is Mike's Furniture Outlet. We have sofas, we have beds, we have tables and chairs. We are located here. These are our hours. You want more information about us? Here's our website. And we do it. But the thing is, you don't hear it once every 2 days.
Yeah, exactly.
You hear it at 6 o'clock in the morning. You hear it at 8 o'clock. You hear it at 10 o'clock. You hear it at 10:45. You see what I'm saying?
But like for me, this is what I would view as a win-win. So let's say you come to somebody and you say, we want to feed kids because they're not getting their school lunches. Right. And you found this place and you've done that. And we could, like I said, we could share hundreds of these stories where you've done that. You've got peanut and jelly sandwiches together. You've gotten bread together, donated. And a company wants to come in and say, our underwriting dollars, we want to let people know that we're partnering with you to feed hungry children. And then you have a 15-second, 20, 30-second, whatever spot. I don't know all that. And then you talk about that. And then you mention the business. To me, that right there is the best so-called commercial you could ever have. You know what I mean?
That's right, because you're and when you listen to us, we're not doing it because it's something we have to do. We do it because it's something that's real that we're trying to do. So when you hear it here, it's real.
Right.
It's everything here is from the heart. Everything, or we wouldn't do it.
Yes, exactly, 100%.
And so when somebody has a cause, it says, listen, I just got an email the other day that says we want to get on and talk about Black mental health. Why do I believe that? And
so a company could come and support that through the radio station, put so-called underwriting commercials on there, and they could be helping out Black mental health along with getting their name out there, their store hours, and everything else.
Right, and the way you get that out in such a way that you're associated with good things.
Right. It's compassionate advertising.
That's a new word for me. I never put the two of them together like that. And so you think of what you guys are doing. All right. So you got businesses out there, the restaurants that are they're suffering. People say, I don't know, is that restaurant open? Is it this? Is it that? Or these businesses, when you stepped up and said, listen, we're going to put this much money in, and that's okay. I'm going to match it with that airtime. And we're going to do this through the month of April, all right? And so restaurants are actually doing fairly well.
Right,
a lot of them.
Right.
Now, when the restaurant side is open, other businesses are going to be able to open again. Mm-hmm. Well, now we've reserved another month.
Yes, exactly.
to turn around and say, these businesses are open. You can get your hair cut from here. You can get your nails done. You can get your eyebrows tweezed. You can get your hair cut. You don't have to be a cop, sneak in there, get caught. Somebody took pictures of you. You see that one on the news? Yeah. And so now we know that these businesses are open.
Right.
What am I asking for them businesses? I ask this of you. We want to give to you that in turn one day you will say, hey, we'd like to do this with you.
But what I love about this, and this is so revolutionary with your station, is you can turn around. Yeah, you can give money to a not-for-profit, whatever. Okay, you gave the money, check's been written or whatever. You don't have the ability to let the community know about that. But with 99.9 The Beat, you have that ability to be able to get it out there and let them know. Not only that, when you help, when you give underwriting to the station, you're helping that not-for-profit, then you turn around and you pass that on to getting cameras or whatever. And then Mike's Furniture gets involved with you on that. Not only are they supporting that organization, they're supporting you. And then you go on social media over and over and over again, sharing about Mike's Furniture and sharing about these cameras. The news media gets involved. There's PR involved in that. So why would you not put your advertising dollars towards something like this?
And it gives you what we call top of mind.
Yes.
So anybody knows anything, if you have an agency you deal with, ask them about top of mind. What does that mean? Mm-hmm. That means when you hear furniture, the first thing comes to your mind is Mike's Furniture.
And that he's helped these people put a camera. That's right. What would pop in my head, but why give to that not-for-profit organization and just give money? Why not run it through 99.9 The Beat, get it out there in the community, and then turn around and get all that social media reach too.
Right.
And get the PR in the local news.
Now, I'm not going to say to people, don't to not deal with these big conglomerates.
Oh, yes, of course.
Although their money is not staying in Albuquerque, but what I would say is tell them that you want to be community related, because the real test is this. When we get a vaccine or what have you that gets us past this, how are these radio stations going to act? Now, right. I can clearly say...
So me back to business as usual, profit first.
Yes, every time. Right. Now, I can say for television, clearly, I can say this about KOB TV. They've been about people for as long as I can remember. And so when I'm going to say it, when I watch news, I record different news because I want to see what they're doing, but I watch 4.
Right.
Because... and then when they did their news at night, and I said, yeah, KOB must be looking at us because they got the night beat now, you know what I'm saying? and so we've done other things. We've added sports.
They've thrown some shade in it, huh?
Oh man, but what's the top of mind when you watch Channel 4? The beat.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Man,
isn't there? And some people have asked me, are you guys associated with KOB TV? And I said, you know what? They never wrote a bad story about me. Mm-hmm. They're good people.
Right.
And I've known Stan Hubbard and his family when they moved here, and his kids were babies. Now they're 7 foot tall and can probably grab me by my short and curlies and pick me up. But that's going to be the true test. How are other radio, other TV, other forms of media going to act? All this free. We want to give it back at a time when you don't have it to give away,
right.
but you're giving it away.
Yes.
How are you going to act when you have it back?
Right. Yeah. When you have it back, what is your responsibility to the community?
Yes.
I think that's the most. Well, Byron, I appreciate you being on today. I hope this helps a lot of people. I want people to be able to get a hold of you. How would they be able to get, if they say, yeah, I want to be a part of this, I want to help 99.9 The Beat. I want to help the community. I want to do what I can to help not-for-profits. How would they get a hold of you?
You can call me direct at 505-304-8809 because I'm the alpha and omega.
I'll put this
here.
in the podcast notes. So
and then you can email me, Powdrell at 99thebeatfm.com.
And so if they're a business owner, the least thing that you can do is stream the radio station at your work. If you're a brick and mortar, stream the radio station at your work. What's the website they can go to? They
can go to 99thebeatfm.com, click on listen. Listen now. It's got all the metadata. Also, you can get us on TuneIn. At the TuneIn app, just search KMGG. And if you have Alexa, look up here in the corner. And you tell Alexa, Alexa, play KMGG. She'll say, okay.
Yep, she's working right now.
There you go. It
Yeah,
just
she
came
told
on.
him. Oh, yeah, there comes the radio.
See, there it is, right there.
Well, awesome. Well, thanks, Byron. I appreciate you being
Yes.
on. I hope we all get behind the community and we're supporting, and from here on out, we can be safe as a family.
You got it. Thank you, Jason.
Yep.
Thank you for joining us on the Albuquerque Business Podcast.
And thanks to our sponsor, RigbyDigital.com.
Make sure to subscribe and share, and go to abqpodcast.com.
Get show notes, resources, and links to everything we talked about today to help you navigate your journey as an entrepreneur
And business owner.